Close your eyes and breathe. It doesn't matter where you are or what surrounds you. For a few moments, I want you to listen to something very few dare to tell you. Perhaps this isn't the only life you're living. Have you ever felt that in some invisible corner of this universe, there's another version of you? A version that made different choices, that followed other paths, that today might be living a story you've silently dreamed of. Perhaps you sometimes catch yourself wondering, why do I feel like my life could have been different? Why are there memories, intuitions, or emotions I can't explain? Jacobo Grinberg said this is no coincidence that the reality you perceive is merely one of many possible ones, like a melody you choose to listen to from an infinite symphony. And the most fascinating part is that these realities aren't far away. They aren't worlds separated by impossible distances. They are here now, like invisible layers brushing against each other, waiting to be connected. Today, as you listen to my voice, I want you to allow yourself a question we rarely ask ourselves. What would happen if you could connect two realities at the same time? Not to escape your own, but to bring into it the best from another. Not to run from your problems, but to open doors you didn't even know were closed. On this journey, we're going to delve into one of Jacobo Grinberg's most provocative ideas. I'm going to take you by the hand so you understand what it means to live with more than one intertwined reality, and how that connection can transform the way you walk, decide, and even breathe. After listening to this, you will no longer see your life the same way. Imagine that the reality you live in isn't a solid structure, but a living fabric. A fabric that not only contains your story, but millions of possibilities coexisting in layers we rarely perceive. Jacobo Grinberg dedicated his life to exploring this mystery, the human mind as an interface, a bridge between realities. He said that what we call reality is essentially an interpretation, and like any interpretation, it can change, transform, and blend with others. To understand this, we must first recognize something we often overlook. We live in a world we take for granted. We walk the same streets, greet the same people, repeat the same routines. But have you ever wondered what would happen if, instead of looking where you always look, you could turn your head and see another layer of existence superimposed on your own? A layer that isn't fantasy, but an alternative version of who you are? Grinberg explained that the field of consciousness isn't linear. It's not a line running from your past to your present and future. Rather, it's an ocean, and you're swimming in a specific current, but around you thousands of other currents are flowing simultaneously, some gentle, others intense. And each of those currents represents another possible reality, a life where you made other decisions, met other people, where your story took a different course. Now, why connect two realities? Because by doing so, you're not just playing at imagining. You're accessing information, emotions, energies, and possibilities not limited by the experience you have today. It's as if you could reach out and take a fragment of another version of yourself and bring it here to your present. In his research, Grinberg recounted fascinating cases. People who, in states of deep meditation or through syntergy practices, described scenes of places and moments they hadn't lived in this life. Some remembered conversations, details, smells, even emotions that corresponded to another reality in which they were present. And most surprisingly, these accounts weren't mere dreams or fantasies. In many cases, they could verify details impossible to know from their current experience. But here's the truly revolutionary part. Connecting two realities isn't a privilege for a few. It's not a special gift that only some possess. According to Grinberg, we are all connected to multiple layers of existence. The difference is that most haven't learned to fine-tune their perception to notice it. Think of those moments that seem insignificant but leave you with a strange feeling. That instant when you enter a place and feel you've been there before. That conversation with a stranger feels like years of friendship. Or that impulsive decision that leads you right to the encounter or opportunity you needed. In Grinberg's vision, these moments are points of contact between realities. Moments when two layers of existence brush against each other, and you, without knowing it, perceive something broader than your usual story. Now, I want you to imagine that this contact doesn't happen only by accident, that it doesn't depend on chance, but on your ability to seek it, provoke it, open yourself to it. When you consciously connect two realities, you're creating a channel between what you're living now and what you could be living. And in that channel circulate ideas, emotions, signals, and opportunities that can modify your present. This is where Jacobo was very clear. The connection between realities isn't a fantasy of escaping current life. It's not about living in an illusion. It's about understanding that your current reality can expand by incorporating the energy, clarity, and possibilities of another. It's a fusion, not an escape. I remember Grinberg often spoke of what he called field resonance. Simply put, when two realities connect, information from one begins to influence the other. It's like two instruments tuning together. One vibration influences the other until both resonate in harmony. If in one of your realities you've reached a state of peace, success, or love, that vibration can begin to permeate your current reality, accelerating processes that here seem impossible. This opens a powerful question. How do you know which reality to connect with? Jacobo suggested not obsessively seeking a perfect reality, but rather letting intention and emotion act as guides. Your heart knows which version of you it wants to approach. It's not a mental search, but an emotional opening. Imagine there's a version of you that has already healed a wound that hurts today, or a version that has already achieved the project you're excited about, or one that lives in harmony with a partner you haven't met yet. By connecting your field with that version, you're not stealing its destiny. You're creating a bridge for that vibration to reach you, so you can begin to feel, act, and decide in coherence with that possibility. This explains why many people, after doing reality connection exercises, start making different decisions, almost without realizing it. It's as if a part of them began to guide itself by a map they didn't have before, and then changes begin. They dare to say no. They seek new opportunities, leave relationships that no longer resonate with them, or open themselves to coincidences they would have previously overlooked. But here's something important. Connecting two realities doesn't mean everything becomes magical and perfect overnight. Jacobo insisted that this work requires consistency. At first, it may feel subtle, almost imperceptible. But gradually, the signals become clearer. Different dreams, more precise intuitions, unexpected encounters, emotions that change for no apparent reason. The connection between realities is like planting a seed. You don't see the plant instantly, but the energy is already in motion. And if you maintain the intention and openness, one day you wake up and realize that what seemed impossible is now part of your life. And then you understand something profound. You didn't connect with another reality to escape this one, but to transform it, to bring into your present the strength, clarity, and energy of a future that was waiting for you. Now that you know realities aren't separated by walls but by frequencies, we can go deeper. Jacobo Grinberg said the mind's greatest trap is believing that reality is unique, because by assuming only what I see exists, we lock ourselves into a pattern we repeat over and over like a record spinning in its groove. But connecting two realities is precisely the opposite. It's lifting the needle from the groove and placing it on another track. And though the song is different, it's still your music. Only now the melody changes and you change with it. Think of your life as a book open to a specific chapter. Maybe in this chapter there are challenges, doubts, half-finished dreams, but what if you could skim ahead? If you could read fragments of a chapter where things were resolved, where the pieces fit together. That version is already written and you can access it. Connecting two realities is opening that book to two pages at the same time. Grinberg was convinced that space-time isn't linear and that consciousness can inhabit several scenarios simultaneously. That's why he insisted that when meditating, visualizing, or setting intentions, you aren't creating something new. You're tuning into a frequency where it already exists. It's not inventing, it's choosing. But of course, the mind always asks, and how do I know I'm not just imagining it? He responded with something that disarms any doubt. If your imagination has the power to show you that possibility, you're already in contact with it. There's no difference between imagining and perceiving when we speak of consciousness. Imagination is the door. And here enters a very powerful aspect, emotions as a signal of connection. When you connect with a reality aligned with you, you feel it. There's calm, enthusiasm, and an inexplicable certainty. It's not anxiety or desperation. It's like recognizing a place you've never been physically, but that your soul instantly identifies. That feeling is the most reliable indicator that your field is resonating with another reality. Grinberg also warned that not all realities are useful to connect with. Some vibrate in patterns that don't serve you. That's why intention is key. When you begin a connection exercise, do it with a clear question. What do I need to bring into my life today? What version of myself do I want to integrate? What experience would make me grow? The answer to that question is the compass that guides you to the other scenario you want to link with. Something is fascinating in all this. Many people who consistently practice these exercises began to notice increasingly evident synchronicities, improbable encounters, opportunities that seemed impossible, and solutions arriving in moments of blockage. And while from the outside they might seem like coincidences, Grinberg said they were proof that information from another reality was filtering into this one. In one of his talks, he recounted the case of a woman trapped in a heavy routine, feeling she had lost her spark for life. For weeks, she practiced a visualization of connection with another version of herself, one living with passion, surrounded by new friends, and with a renewed purpose. She didn't know how she would get there, but she maintained the connection every night. After a month, she began to feel small impulses, signing up for a workshop, accepting invitations, picking up a forgotten hobby. Within months, her social and emotional life had completely changed. The curious thing is that she said, "I didn't feel like I changed. I felt like I became the woman who was already living that other life." That is the true power of connecting two realities. It's not a mental trick or a fantasy game. It's a way to align yourself with potentials that are already there, waiting for you to open the door. Jacobo insisted a lot that we shouldn't obsess over how the change would come. The connection between realities isn't linear. Sometimes life takes strange turns, moves pieces without you controlling them, but when you maintain the connection, transformation is inevitable. It's as if by synchronizing with that other reality, your entire energy field begins to reorganize so that what you see here increasingly resembles what exists there. I want you to think about this. In quantum physics, there's a concept called superposition. It means a particle can exist in two states at the same time until it's observed. In Grinberg's vision, your consciousness works similarly. You can be aligned with two realities simultaneously. And it's your attention that decides which one manifests more strongly in your experience. That's why consciously connecting two realities is so powerful. It's deciding which one you want to give more strength to in your life. And here's something very hopeful. This means you aren't trapped in the reality you live now. However difficult your situation, there are always other versions of you where things are different, and by connecting with them, you can bring pieces of that strength, clarity, and abundance. Here, Grinberg summarized it like this: there are no limits beyond those you accept. Every time you choose to open yourself to another reality, you're giving life permission to move in ways your mind can't foresee. Imagine for a moment that every step you take is bringing you closer to a version of yourself living in fullness. You don't have to know all the details, you just have to hold the connection. Over time, paths, people, and circumstances begin to appear. This is how the connection between realities becomes something practical. You don't need to understand all the theory, you need to practice, because practice is the bridge that transforms an idea into experience. And once you experience it, there's no going back. In an instant, you discover that life isn't a fixed destination, but a network of paths where you have more power of choice than you ever imagined. Practical part: exercise to connect two realities at the same time. Before starting, I want you to do something very simple. Gift yourself these minutes as if they were a sacred space. It doesn't matter if you're listening to this video at home, in your room, or in some quiet corner. This moment is just for you. Step 1. Preparation of space and mind. Close your eyes gently. Breathe deeply and exhale slowly. Do this 3 times. With each inhalation, feel how the air enters and cleanses your mind. With each exhalation, imagine any distraction, any worry slowly dissolving. In this instant, I want you to permit yourself to let go of everything that ties you to the urgent and open yourself to the important. You. Jacobo Grinberg said that the connection with other realities begins with a change in your attention, and to achieve it, the first step is to let your mind quiet down. Now, with your eyes closed, become aware of your body. Feel your feet, your legs, your back supported. Feel the weight of your body like a gentle anchor connecting you to this moment. Step 2. Recognize your current reality. In your mind, begin to visualize the reality you're in now. Don't worry about imagining every perfect detail. Just let scenes, emotions, sensations of what you're living today appear. Observe your routine, your spaces, the people around you. Notice how you feel being in this reality, your predominant emotions, your most frequent thoughts. There's no judgment, no criticism. You're just observing as if you were watching your life on a screen. Jacobo explained that to connect two realities, you must first anchor yourself in your own, know it as it is, with clarity and without evasion. Step 3. Open the door to the other reality. Now, I want you to imagine that a luminous corridor appears in front of you. This corridor is special. It doesn't have solid walls, but seems made of light and movement, like a river flowing gently. At the end of the corridor, there's a door. It's not a common door. It's made of a material that doesn't exist in this world. It shines, changes color, and seems to breathe. Slowly approach that door. As you walk, feel how your body lightens, as if leaving behind the weight of your routine, worries, and fears. When you reach the door, stop for a moment. Place your hand on it. As you touch it, a warm sensation runs through your body. It's the sign that you're about to connect with another reality. Step 4. Discover the other reality. Push the door slowly and cross to the other side. On the other side is a version of you. It's not a stranger, it's you, but in another story. Observe yourself. See how you walk, how you breathe, how you move. Notice your energy, your gaze, your posture. This version of you already lives in the reality you want to connect with, perhaps more at peace, more fulfilled, with goals achieved, with the energy you yearn for. Approach and sit in front of this version of yourself. You don't have to speak, just look and observe. Notice every detail. This other you is a key. It embodies what you want to bring into your current life. Jacobo said that when connecting two realities, information isn't transferred with words, but with resonance. So just observe and feel. Step 5. The energy exchange. Now, imagine that a thread of light emerges from your heart, connecting to the heart of your other self. Feel how this light begins to flow in both directions. You give your experiences, your emotions, your learnings, and at the same time, you receive its energy, its certainties, its clarity. There's no rush. Allow the connection to strengthen. Feel how its peace mixes with your breath, how its confidence enters your thoughts, how its strength begins to course through your body. Stay here as long as you need, feeling how both realities intertwine, how this connection begins to form a single energy network. Step 6. Anchoring in your current reality. Slowly, imagine that the other version of you smiles and nods. It's their way of saying, now you can return, but you won't return the same. Silently thank this connection. Begin to move back toward the door. As you cross it, bring with you all the energy, emotions, and learnings from that reality. Return through the corridor, feeling how your body regains its weight, but with a new sensation. You're carrying something different within you. When you feel yourself back in the place where you started, gently open your eyes. Look around. Perhaps nothing has changed outside, but inside, something is already different. Step 7. Daily integration. Jacobo always said that connecting two realities isn't a one-time event, but a habit of perception. So to integrate this connection, each morning before getting up, briefly remember the other version of you. Ask yourself, what would that version of me do today? You don't have to repeat the full exercise every day. It's enough to remember it, feel it, and act in coherence. Over time, you'll notice subtle changes, new decisions, coincidences, opportunities that previously seemed invisible. This practice isn't just imagination, it's a way to focus your consciousness toward other frequencies of your own field. And by doing so, you begin to attract experiences, people, and circumstances that resonate with that connected reality. Remember, it's not about escaping your current life, but enriching it. You're not seeking to replace your reality, but to expand it. Now that you've opened that door and felt the contact with another version of yourself, I want you to pause for a moment. Breathe, feel your chest, perceive your mind in silence. This isn't a passing imagination. What you just experienced is the manifestation of one of Jacobo Grinberg's deepest ideas. Reality isn't a fixed space, but a flexible field that transforms with your attention and intention. Perhaps right now you feel lighter, more curious, or maybe surprised. Maybe you have no words to describe it. And that's okay. This experience isn't measured in definitions, but in sensations. What's important isn't to understand with the mind everything that happened, but to recognize that something moved inside you. And that which moved is the clearest signal that your reality has begun to change. Jacobo used to say that when you connect two realities, you aren't forcing the universe to give you something. You're aligning your energy with a version of you where what you desire is already present. And by doing so, life reorganizes to bring it to you. But I want to make something very clear. Connecting two realities doesn't mean running from the one you live in now. It doesn't mean denying your challenges or current emotions. It means learning to bring into your present the strength, peace, clarity, and abundance that already exist in another layer of your own consciousness. It's like having a spring of pure water in another garden and learning to open a channel so that water reaches yours. You aren't abandoning your garden, you're nourishing it. I want you to reflect on something. Throughout your life, how many times have you felt you were in the wrong place? How many times have you wished for guidance, a sign, a force to show you the way? Perhaps that guidance was always there in another version of you, waiting for you to listen. Connecting two realities is precisely that, listening. Listening to what you've already learned elsewhere. Listening to what you've already healed. Listening to what you've already achieved, so that vibration begins to impregnate your current life. You don't have to imagine it as something distant or supernatural. It's actually as close as your breath. Every time you pause, close your eyes, and remember that other version of you, you're activating the connection. Now, what happens after this practice? It's possible the changes aren't immediate. At first, it might seem like everything remains the same, but here's the real secret. The connection begins in the subtle. First, your energy changes, your way of perceiving, your manner of reacting. And when that changes, the external begins to move as a reflection. You might suddenly have a conversation that opens an unexpected door. A new idea might arise in the middle of your routine. You might dare to make decisions you've been avoiding for years. And all this happens because you're no longer operating solely from the reality you knew, but from a blend, from a broader version of yourself. Jacobo repeated a phrase I'd like to gift you. You are not a prisoner of a single story. You are the traveler of a universe of possibilities. I want you to remember it. I want you to use it as a reminder that every time you feel trapped, you have the option to connect with another reality where the way out already exists. Because in the end, the moral of all this is very simple but powerful. You are greater than your problems. You are broader than your limitations. You are more extensive than this version of your life. Connecting two realities isn't a mystical trick to change your luck overnight. It's a way to remind yourself that there are always more paths open than you believe, and those paths begin in your consciousness. I want you to keep this image in mind. Your life is a river. The channel you see now is only one of many. In other channels, there's more calm, more clarity, more abundance. Connecting two realities is learning to open an invisible channel that joins those rivers so the waters flow toward you. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to control every step. You just need to maintain the connection, because water always finds a way to reach you. In the next 7 days before sleeping, dedicate 5 minutes to remembering that other version of you met today. It doesn't matter if you see it clearly or only feel its energy. Do it every night. And upon waking, ask yourself, what would that version of me do today? You don't need big actions. Small adjustments are enough. A different decision, a different word, a step that brings you closer to that frequency. If you do this, you'll keep the connection open, and over time, what seemed like a simple practice will become a new way of living. Remember, the most powerful reality is the one you dare to connect with love, trust, and presence. Everything else flows from there.